Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host Mike 31. Hope you're having a great weekend. Last week, the Cup race, wow. If they did not resume after the rain, I would have absolutely crushed as winning hundreds. And then there were some wrecks and took out some of the drivers I had in my key lineups, and it didn't go that great. Truck Series speculation video was spot on with Raja, and even though he got disqualified. So that was really good. So there is value in the speculation videos. Sometimes we get it uh, pretty close with like the amount of data that I research and try to figure out. And Xfinity, sorry to get the video out for that. Had someone in ER, not me. I'm just an infection, no big deal. Everything's good, but just gonna get to the video. And now we've got the Cup race. So and this is not one of my favorite tracks for DFS, but we'll try to work through it. There's a lot of drivers that tried to send it in qualifying and got loose and ended up towards the back, some wrecked cars. So if you looked at it, you almost think like the field should be inverted, like what they used to do in like some of the all-star races where they'd run like half the race and then they'd flip the field, and it's just kind of goofy. So if you look back at like some of these races here, it's a long track, so you don't have that many laps. So it's really not maybe a 1 to 2 dom race, but sometimes like last year it was a 0 dom race. Like nobody really had that many fast laps or dominated points. It was just kind of like spread out throughout the field, just with the lack of laps and it is possible to set up in two and then straight away to have some passing here and some back and forth. Like it doesn't like really act like a super speedway, but some of the principles I think still apply. Not like building lineup, stacking the back, and leaving like 10,000 on the cable. That's just not what we need to do here. But I think place differential is something that's very key. You're going to have a lot of good drivers in the back that you can look at for that. A lot of solid punt plays that have place differential. They had some speed in the abbreviated practice that they had. Like things got a little bit screwed up because of the weather, and hopefully we get a good race here without weather interruptions. And again, it's a fun race to watch, and it's an iconic race. It's like one of the crown jewel races, like the Southern 500, the Daytona 500, and like some of the other um, key ones here. But it for DFS wise, I just don't love it. So starting at the top, Chase Briscoe, it's really good at getting poles, but 20th in 10 lap average speed, and I wasn't super impressed with his overall speed. He came in 34th. And if you watch the truck video, like we talked about playoffs, and just want to get this out of the way, there's still 5 races before the playoffs. I'm not as concerned, although one of them is Daytona, which I think is right before the playoffs. So that could be interesting. I love the playoffs are starting. It's the Southern 500 on Labor Day. That's another really cool, um, iconic race that I really enjoy watching. So this is I think some people might be trying to work on playoff points, but we'll talk about that in the next upcoming weeks, especially like Watkins Glen. So we still have Iowa and for Richmond in between there. So I'm not concerned about playoff points. I'm just concerned about how this race is going to run. The R factor we have also is I can designate them here. Hi Gibbs, congratulations, you made it to. I'll do it with font. Ty Gibbs, congratulations, you made it to the finals of the In Cup Challenge, and you get to face off against I Dylan. Like if you had this in your bingo card, it's almost like the year that like Butler faced Duke in the finals. So we'll see how this plays out. A little extra incentive, $1 million for the driver that finishes there. Okay, so Briscoe didn't have really the speed, so I think upside. Bubba didn't really come in the top 20 in 10 lap average, 14th overall in speed, so I think he has some upside. I think it's a decent track for him. I'm really, it's probably more of a FanDuel play. I'm really probably not. Maybe I'll take one of the purple doms here, but then I'm taking all place differential. I'm not taking more than one in the top 10 here. Eric Jones, like Legacy is starting this show. So to be the Toyotas, like obviously they're in the top five up here, so something's going on, but I just don't think that they're going to hold it. I think that definitely Hendrick cars are going to get up there and be part of the mix going forward, and some of the other Gibbs cars that are starting deeper in the field could have something to say about it. Also, Reddick, I really like him here, and he's one that, and I like the kind of the savings. Like, there's a lot of 10K drivers that make a lot of sense to play, but if you want to save a little bit and get a little bit more balance in the middle of your lineup, then I think Reddick is a fine play here, fifth overall, and I think that he's one that it's not a track where you really ride the wall, but if anything that you can create to get yourself some clean air. So he likes kind of running higher up on tracks and some other people are comfortable. And if you don't get in like gravel or debris up there and it turns your car and you can make it work, then I think that can be an advantage. It seemed like a lot of them wanted to be racing down in Xfinity yesterday. So I think that's where you could maybe differentiate yourself and find some speed and some clean air and get some advantage and help you pass. Gibbs, like I said, it's going to be an upside dominator here. Decent in practice. Still looking for that first win, but it doesn't really need to do much to beat Ty Dillon. So I think it's going to be survive in advance here. So to me, it's more of a GPP play. Byron, second in 10 lap average, wasn't as fast, 21st overall, but I think that he could potentially get up there and lead this race and if there is a dominator, get some of the dominator points. So definitely going to be um, considering probably between he and it was between he and Larson for the prime, but then I thought like Byron fit more of a dominator. Would I end up playing both of them? Possibly. I mean, it's gonna be a hard choice because with all the 10K drivers minus Blaney, who I'll get to when I get to, I think that you could, with the value, be able to probably play three of them here. So I think Byron's definitely in the equation. Busher, the RFK cars, like Kozlowski looked good with speed in practice, but Butcher wasn't in the top 20, so GPP here. Hocevar, just feel like he had some speed there, but the handling of the car didn't look great. And the practice was so short. I don't think they made like a bunch of adjustments on it. So like he was number nine overall with speed, but when looking at the fall off, he wasn't in the top 20. So I just I I like him as a driver, but GPP here. Allmendinger, he had some speed, like in 5 lap average, but was 20th overall. So still, I just don't think it's a great course for him. Would it surprise me if he finished in the top 10? No, absolutely not. But I think that he doesn't have the floor I'm looking for here. Cindric, same thing, 13th. That means he may lose some places here. So GPP. Wasn't super impressed with Penske overall, um, with speed, uh, other than Logano, but I'll get to that in a second. Shane Van Gisbergen, great qualifying lap, but I just don't see him staying up here. 26 and overall speed, it wasn't even in the top 20, so that's gonna be fade. Kyle Busch has always been a good track for him here, and I keep on just waiting for and I did this with Harvick too. Like, and he did have some good races like towards the end of his career, but to get that like final win, and I don't know if it's going to come for Kyle, but he's been racing better here. So, uh, speed wise, he was 18th overall. He was just outside the top 20 with 5 laps. So, I'm going to throw him in my 100K lineup. Larson, I'm going to put the prime on here. he just did really well last year. He's always run well here, and I like the place differential that he could get up there and get some dominator points. I know the price tag is pretty steep here, especially if you're trying to play um, Chalk Elliott and Chalk Hamlin down there, and it'd be the three king lineup with 10. But like I said, the value's there. You can make it happen. So that's why I think a lot of people are going to go with Chase with the prime, but I'll give Chase when I get to Chase. But I prefer Larson here. Uh, or if you need to save $300, I think you can go Byron and or just mix up your lineups. Like you can definitely with these 10K drivers besides Blaney, I'll get to that in a second. I think that you can, if you're doing like a three max, just go through the combination of trying to get two to three of them in your lineup, and you're probably going to use Hamlin as a free square. I know he's the most expensive driver, but he has got the most upside, and he had speed in practice before he wrecked his car. His backup on is going to be absolutely fine. Um, not worried about that at all. So I think that's probably like a great strategy is to use the value plays and then rotate through in like a three max these like 10K drivers getting two to three in a lineup and see what what happens there. I would again I wouldn't go with Blaney, but I would also throw like Reddick in that mix. Kozlowski, I think you can play in cash here. I know he's starting a little bit far forward here for 14th, but I was kind of impressed with his top 10 lap average. He was third overall, and I don't think he's going to have a lot of ownership here. I toyed with him with a 10K, but I really felt he had the floor for cash. So um, he definitely will be playing him a little bit. Joey Logano's a little deceiving here. Like you eight and like 10th lap, but he was 22nd overall. And I just didn't feel the raw speed was there. So I don't think I'm going to be playing a bunch of him. John Nemechek did really well here with some unique pit strategies. And you can short pit as long as you're not too far away from the leader. Um, to before like if there's a caution or something before a stage to try to get track position. I expect Joey and his crew chief as usual to do some weird things. This has turned into a fuel mileage race also, and he has shown that he is able to miraculously stretch it out and still be able to do burn ups and moats and after winning races. So the upsides there for GPP and but I don't feel the floor is there for cash. So GPP. Bell, a Gibbs car, I think he's be highly owned. Like he's had a really good season. With the raw speed, he was 28th. I know he's 11th. That's almost the same situation as Joey. So at 95, I like other plays better. So he still has some upside. And if you're doing like a 20 max, then definitely mix them in with your combinations of trying to get two to three of these high priced drivers in your lineup. But if you're like playing just cash or playing like a three entry max, I'm not going there. But I'll definitely have him in my GPP line. Josh Berry, he should be decent here, but again, I don't feel like there's a floor. I don't think the upside's huge, so GPP. I almost put fade on him because he's going back at like 2x. So, but I like him as a driver, so I think there's a little bit of upside. So it was borderline fade, but GPP. Gregson, his X value looks good because I always look for four, and he's like 4.28 at his price point, like at almost 25 points. It seems like a very good um, value here, but I just don't think the floor is there. So the upside I think is tremendous, but I see often late in the races that four and like the inside wall, and I just that gives me the a huge upside of like playing him in the 100K lineup, but I don't feel that he's got the floor for cash. So speed wasn't bad. 13th overall, 19th and 10 lap average. So I think solid play here, but just not for cash games. GPP, especially the top one. Feeling a GPP starting a little bit too far forward here. I don't mind him as a punt. It should be fine. Wasn't like turtle slow or anything to super be um, concerned with. Actually, his like 11th with raw speed and 1 lap average. Just didn't have a great 10 lap average, but in practice maybe they're working some things out. So I'm not super concerned. A decent punt. If he was starting further back, he'd definitely be a cash play. Austin Dillon, I think you can play in cash here. Um, just because I feel that there's some floor. Again, didn't have the 10 lap average I was looking for, but he did do pretty well with just overall speed. He was actually coming sixth. So there's some upside there and some floor for you. Bowman was the slowest of the 100 cars, but he is a 100 car, and he's starting exactly where I like him to. He will go, like I said, grab his lunchbox, kiss his wife and kids goodbye, head into work for the day, put in a solid 8 hours, come home for dinner. Just do his job, get good results, bring home the paycheck. Um, Not going to be anything flashy or super um, upside here, but the floor is always incredible, so always a solid cash building block. McDowell, I like in cash here also is like a punt play in the 6,500. He was very fast in practice. And he's really extended his repertoire because he used to just be like a super speedway guy and a road course guy and everything else in between. It was like, but pretty solid. And like we knew what's coming over to Spire that they had some pretty good things to hopefully help him with some upside here and I like it like third and 10 lap average. He was 19th in single lap speed, but still, I think the upside's there, the floor's there, so cash play. Same thing with Priest. Priest is a solid play, 7,300. If you get into this might be no man's land if you're playing all those 10K drivers, but if you can get into 7K range, Priest is a solid cash play for you. Blaney. I like Blaney. I think he's a good driver. It's just being the second most expensive one here and just not really seeing the speed out of Penske. He was 32nd at single lap speed. He did crack the top 20 here. And so my guess is that he's good for GPP here, that if there's some fall off and in long runs and in this track, which could definitely happen. If it doesn't get choppy because of weather or other things, then I think that he can have some upside. But I just don't know if the floor is there without that like raw speed, especially with the single lap speed being so low. So he's going to be a GPP play at the price point. I like all the other. I like Byron. I like Larson. I like Elliott with more place differential. I like Hamlin. Um, as plays and Reddick are definitely better. And even Bell, I think you're saving like $1,200 in playing over Blaney. Herbst GPP almost a fade, it's not too far forward here. Dylan gonna get the 100K because he's got that bullseye on him going for the $1 million. So it all depends. If Gibbs is having a good race and Dylan is going to be pushing it, I think that they're probably throwing some extra backing, everything they can here to try to get that. But what happens if Gibbs like wrecks or has an issue and he's like laps down? Then I think Dylan becomes super conservative because all you have to do is just finish the race ahead of him. You don't need to have a great race here. And I think that becomes a priority that they're going to um, be super cautious to try to bring home that $1 million because they're probably not making the playoffs. They're probably not going to win a race. And so what else do they have to play for? This is their season, kind of. Zane Smith, I think, is a strong cash play here. And I know he's not was in the 20 lap average, but he wasn't his fifth actually overall. So there's some speed there. Haley, I think you can throw back in this in price point and starting position, projecting around 25 points for me. So I think that that's another one that should be decent for you. Wasn't bad in practice. Where was he? He's 29th. Okay, so maybe not have a ton of speed, but I think just looking at like cash plays, he's got some floor there. Custer, same thing, didn't have 35th in speed, like, but you're just looking for ones that can kind of like finish where they started. And I think these ones can definitely finish in the top 30. So they should be okay in the 5K range, especially if you're trying to get some of these 10K drivers in. Elliott, no problem playing him here. I think he's got some upside. I just like the combination of Larson and Hamlin better. I know most people will probably start their lineups with Elliott and Hamlin. It is possible again to get all three of them in to do like Elliott, Hamlin, Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Byron, Elliott, Hamlin, Reddick. I think all the if even GPPs I really have uh, Elliott, Hamlin, L together. So that's definitely in play there. Suarez, like the speed, like Trackhouse has always had speed here, so like he and again, these guys just got loose in their qualifying, just trying to like over um drive it, and it didn't work out, so they end up down here. But I'm gonna put Prime on Stenhouse because out of the 5K drivers, he's starting close to the back. I think he has like some upside here, definitely some speed. 15th overall. Where was he for one lap average? 16th. So really, really like him here. So prime play for me. Chastain, I think it. I think if you can figure out a Ross Chastain build, so maybe a Fade Larson and Byron, because I don't think that you can mathematically get like if you're doing like Elliott, Hamlin, and Chastain, I think that could open up a lot for you here. Maybe Reddick would work, and then you get a couple of these 5K drivers in, and that could be something really unique. I don't know if it's like the ultimate cash build, but like Chastain definitely had some speed here, and I think that if you go there and maybe not play Larson or Byron, and like maybe Reddick is your play here, or like Kozlowski, like you might be able to get some of these in like a Bowman, like and maybe you'll probably end up with Catherine Leggy as your final um driver. But like to play like a balanced lineup there where everybody's probably going stars and scrubs. I mean, that could have like a lot of floor for you in a cash game, but also have a lot of upside in GPP. So consider if you're like doing multiple lineups, a build like that where you go like Hamlin, Elliott, Chastain, and then just stay in that like juicy middle range that nobody's gonna be able to get if if they're trying to get like a Larson or a Byron in the lineup and playing the three king build. So keep that in your back pocket. Where in love GPPs like didn't really have speed in practice. Like Jesse Love has a ton of talent. This third RCR car just hasn't been actually he's not in that. Is he in the beard car? Okay, sorry about that. I'm just noticing that. And Beard has a good program, so but just not seeing the speed in practice is just a little bit concerning here. So if you need him as a punt, that's fine. Uh, with the place differential, like he's 200 more than Riley Hurst. I feel he's safer play than Ware, a Blicky or Leggy. Uh, so and Jesse Love, like with the raw talent, he might figure it out even if he doesn't have the speed. He might be okay. I think John Hunter Nemechek gonna be super chalky down here. I prefer Stenhouse. I just think not John Hunter Nemechek still ends up finding issues, kind of like Gregson. But it's getting better. But last year, it, like was one of the most dominant cars here, with getting fast laps, and I think he led the race for a little bit. And obviously, had the number one speed in practice for 10 lap, second overall for single lap. So a lot of upside here. I probably will be playing him in cash builds. but if it works out, but I prefer saving $500 for Stenhouse, who also has looked really, really good and projects a little bit better for point for dollar for me. Because I'm looking like I put GPP on here, but probably not touching them. And then Hamlin is probably this free square here, but not free for at 11K. In GPPs, in some of your tournament plays, maybe fade him. And if he does end up getting wrecked by Leggy or Blicky down here, or Cody Ware, and doesn't really advance much and only ends up with getting finishing dead last and getting like 2 DK points, and isn't the smash place differential play that we think he potentially could be with the speed that we saw in practice, then you're going to have so much leverage on the field. I don't think you can do in cash. I think you just gotta eat the chalk. But in tournaments, then I think that could be definitely a strategy. And there's so many other like juicy plays that we talked about here, and maybe trying to get like the Chastain and Kozlowski in your build there in like the 8K range, and Dylan without Hamlin would make a very viable like GPP lineup. Like I said, that has some floor for cash, but has a lot of upside with some solid drivers with some speed, and you're not really like punting too much. So we got for you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me with Mega31 on Twitter/X. Um, and go to the description of the video and you can get to the FSidfs website and join our Discord. There's a free room in the Discord called NASCAR Pool. And when we don't have videos, when we do speculation videos, I have been throwing some of the content in there for free, just as a thank you for your support watching these videos and getting in there. The paying subs get all the premium stuff, but I do throw enough breadcrumbs in there to help you out. And I think in the we have a room also like with like big wins, and some people did really good on the truck race just out of like the content from the NASCAR pool room that's free. So just being able to see the final sheet to help them out. So you get that like anywhere from half an hour to 15 minutes before lock, but like I get it to the paying subs first, and they get full cores and other notes and stuff like that. But for free, if you're just looking for the sheet update or something like that, or the updated primes, then just join the Discord and get into that room. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If these videos help us back. Like, subscribe to the channel, share with friends. So hope you have an amazing weekend. Stay cool. It's hot out there. Hopefully we've got a good race without any thunderstorms or any interruptions, and or people intentionally wrecking one another. Um, so we'll see what happens with Austin Hill, and I don't think Larson wrecked Algon on Clippers, but that wasn't ideal either for DFS. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next.